Have you ever wondered what it means to ask big questions? You know, the ones that pop into your head at 3 a.m. or over a long road trip. Questions like, what's the meaning of life? Or, do we have free will? These questions are part of something humanity has been exploring for thousands of years. Welcome to the world of philosophy. The word philosophy literally means the love of wisdom. It goes all the way back to ancient Greece when thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle gathered to ask questions about life, the universe, and everything in between. But here's the thing. Philosophy isn't just old guys in togas. It's actually more relevant today than ever before. At its core, philosophy is a way of looking at the world, a way of asking questions and challenging assumptions. Think about it this way. Every time you debate if something is right or wrong, if beauty is really in the eye of the beholder, or whether science can tell us everything there is to know about reality, you're doing philosophy. So what are the big questions that philosophers love to wrestle with? Philosophy is often broken down into a few main branches. Metaphysics, the study of existence. Philosophers here ask things like, what is reality? What is the nature of time, space, and even consciousness? Picture the Matrix, but with less CGI and more deep thinking. Epistemology, the study of knowledge. This is where we ask, how do we know what we know? Imagine if everything you perceive could be an illusion. Epistemologists try to understand what it means to be certain of anything. Ethics, the study of what's right and wrong. Ethics is more than just a moral code. It's about understanding how we should live and treat each other. Philosophers dive into issues like justice, fairness, and how to make choices that are not only good for us but for others too. Aesthetics, the study of beauty. Ever wonder why some art pieces make you feel something and others don't? Aestheticians delve into what makes something beautiful or profound. Is beauty a universal truth? Or is it just in our heads? But how can philosophy help us today? It turns out that philosophical thinking can make a real difference in modern life. For instance, philosophy teaches us to pause and consider our actions and decisions, helping us clarify what we truly value. In an age of fast information and quick judgments, philosophy encourages us to think critically, whether it's assessing what's right or wrong in a complex ethical situation, reflecting on our life goals, or even just navigating relationships with more empathy and understanding. From debates on social justice to personal growth, philosophy is a toolkit we can use to make thoughtful choices, handle challenges with resilience, and connect with others in a more meaningful way. It's not just theory. It's a way to live better every day. Okay, you might be thinking, that's all interesting, but does any of this really matter? The answer is a resounding yes. Philosophy impacts everything. When we question common sense, we're using a tool that philosophy has sharpened over centuries. Common sense tells us, that's just the way things are. But philosophy challenges us to ask, but does it have to be? All right. So we know philosophy tackles big questions and helps us find perspective. But how does it actually work? How do philosophers go from questions to ideas and then explore those ideas? Philosophers use a method that's surprisingly straightforward but incredibly powerful. They ask questions, build arguments, and then challenge those arguments. Let's break down these steps. It all starts with a question, but not just any question. Philosophers aim to ask questions that are as clear as possible. Instead of, what's the meaning of life? They might get more specific and ask, is the purpose of life to seek happiness, or is there something more? By making questions clear, they set up a path that can actually be explored. Once they have a clear question, philosophers construct arguments. An argument in philosophy isn't about who's right or wrong. It's about presenting reasons that lead logically to a conclusion. For example, if they're exploring whether humans have free will, they might build an argument based on evidence from psychology, biology, and even personal experience. Each reason has to make sense and be well supported. Otherwise, the argument falls apart. Here's where philosophy gets exciting. Once a philosopher has built an argument, they try to break it down. They look for weak points, hidden assumptions, or logical flaws. Imagine putting an argument through a stress test, just like a bridge is tested to see if it can hold up under pressure. Philosophers evaluate their arguments to make them stronger, or they discard them if they don't hold up. They often ask, what if I'm wrong? What's the counter-argument? Philosophy is a collaborative process. Throughout history, philosophers have debated and built upon each other's ideas. Sometimes they agree, but more often, they challenge each other's conclusions. By comparing different views, they refine their thinking. In this way, philosophy is a bit like science, where theories evolve over time as new evidence or new reasoning comes to light. Finally, philosophy isn't just for theoretical debates, it's meant to be lived. Once philosophers have tested an idea, they often look for ways to apply it to real life. Stoic philosophers, for instance, use their ideas to stay calm in difficult situations. Ethics philosophers debate what justice means and then apply these ideas to issues like human rights, environmental policies, and personal decisions. Philosophy works best when it steps out of the classroom and into our lives. One of philosophy's great gifts is perspective. Stoics like Zeno remind us to take life's ups and downs with resilience, calmly accepting what we can't control. This mindset, seeing life's challenges as opportunities for growth, has turned the word philosophical into a synonym for strength and calmness. And philosophy doesn't just stop at personal growth. It also tackles social questions. Philosophers challenge us to question public opinion, what's fair, and whether justice as we know it is truly just. These inquiries have shaped debates on equality, rights, and government. Even the idea of democracy has roots in philosophical thought. So how do philosophers tackle these big questions without getting lost in a sea of uncertainty? That's where logic comes in. Logic is the art of constructing sound arguments and spotting flaws in reasoning. Think of it as the ultimate toolkit for clarity and precision, helping philosophers cut through confusion to get closer to the truth. Whether debating the nature of free will or just trying to convince your friend that pineapple really doesn't belong on pizza, logic lets you argue with clarity without falling into traps like circular reasoning or making assumptions. In our fast-paced world, philosophy might seem like a luxury, but the truth is that it's more like a survival skill. Philosophical thinking helps us navigate a complex society full of big questions that can't be answered by facts alone. Should we prioritize freedom or equality? What does a good life look like? And can science answer every question? Or are there some mysteries it just can't solve? Philosophy reminds us that while we may never find definitive answers to these questions, it's essential to keep asking them. The journey is just as important as the destination. And if there's any point to philosophy, it's this: to make us think deeply about our choices, our beliefs, and the way we interact with the world around us. So next time you're wondering about something bigger than yourself, whether it's life's purpose, justice, or even if we're in a simulation, remember, you're already doing philosophy. And the more we engage with these questions, the more connected we become with humanity's ongoing quest to understand itself. Because at the end of the day, the answers might not be clear, but the questions are worth every bit of the journey. Welcome to philosophy.